Once again, I embrace you all in World of English with Sakshi Khanna, specially designed lecture for grade 11. Discovering Tut, the saga continues. CBSC Class 11 English book Hornbill, written by A.R. Williams. So before I start, I just want to tell you again, you need to focus over the listening when you are receiving any video lesson of mine. Okay, and content, text based content you will be receiving the same evening. So today I will forward you the summary, line by line explanation, the hard word to understand during reading. Okay, so these all things will be forwarded to you people in advance. Tomorrow we will be starting line by line explanation, but today before I move to the PDF textbook, we need to know the hard words. We need to know the plot of the story. What is the story about? Okay, and the summary, short summary. So plot and summary we will be finishing today to give an overview of the whole chapter, so that tomorrow when we are moving to the line by line explanation, you will understand with proper context of the series of the event which came across while reading. So shall I move on? Before I start, I just want to give an overview, very short, before I proceed to the plot and the summary, short summary of the story with the help of the slides. So this chapter is all about the last hair. Hair, it's not about your hair, it's hair. Look at the pronunciation which I am using for you people to understand. Don't get confused. Hair, a person who is entitled by law or by the will to inherit the estate, the property, the kingdom of Tutankhamun. This is a story about the last heir of the powerful Pharaoh dynasty, ancient Egyptian king Tutankhamun, his name, who died when he was a teenager after ruling for 9 years. Look at the statement. He died when he was teenager, means at the age of 19 he died, and he ruled for 9 years. So at the age of 10 or 11 he must be crowned as king. Okay, he died in a mysterious way. This chapter throws light over all the possible mysteries, the curse, where his tomb lies. You all know where the tombs lie of Pharaoh dynasty, that is in Egypt, his life, and ultimately death. Egyptians believe that there is life after death, and that is the reason why the pharaohs were buried with wealth and everyday use item. So I hope that you must have got some overview what we are getting in this chapter. It's all about the central character, that is Tutankhamun, the last king of Pharaoh dynasty, who died at an early age and in the mysterious way. Nobody knew the real reason of his death, but some of the archaeologists, they decided to find out the reason of the death with the help of the technology. And after that we will discuss about the Egyptians believe, how they believe, and what is the reason why the Pharaoh dynasty kingdom was so rich and die also rich, and they buried so many precious gems, so many expensive furniture, piece of furniture as well in the tomb, because they believe that everyday use items and other wealth is required to the king after the death, because they believe there is a life after the death, but this is the second phase of the life. So let's start with the chapter today. This is our chapter, Discovering Tut, the saga continues, written by A.R. Williams. In this chapter, give us an in-depth insight of Tutankhamun, the last ruler of Pharaoh dynasty. He was a teenager when he died, and his death was a mystery. Some speculated means when we make a guess that he was murdered. I give you an overview to understand the story very fast. Nowadays, one case of Sushant murder is prominent on the screen, and you are daily getting some updates, new updates related to his death, as the evidence found it's a suicide, but the parents or the other people are claiming it's a murder. So in the same way, Tutankhamun died in a mysterious way and people wanted to know what is the reason. In the same way as for SSR. Okay, all wanted to know, all are very eager to know the real reason of the death because they are considering it's a murder, not the suicide case. That is why it is getting claimed on the daily basis with different set of the evidences. So some speculated that he was murdered, as his father, his relatives are speculated that it's a murder, it's not a suicide case. So he ruled in Egypt. Now get back to now take your mindset back to discovering Tutankhamun instead of Sushant Singh Rajput. Okay, because I always give the live example, it is very easy to relate with the story, with the chapter or the literature on we are working. So that's why I have given you the example so that you will catch the story, plot of the story very fast. What is the story all about? So let us move to the story. He ruled in Egypt and its empire for centuries. In 1922, his tomb was discovered by Howard Carter, a British archaeologist who took the responsibility to find out the real reason with the help of some advanced technology. After 80 years, he was taken from his resting place, means from his tomb, for CT scan, which offers to solve the mystery of his life and death by creating a forensic reconstruction. Whatever the evidence, it was all lost. Okay, so with the CT scan of the body, you can say the mummy, they got some information. So let us read about the information in the detail in short summary. Let's move on to the short summary of the story plus plot. The major incidents happen in the story. After discussing the plot and the short summary of the story in today's session, I will show you some images also which were stored after the CT scan so that you will get an overview what actually the point to find out the mystery, how did they solve and what did they receive after the advanced technology based CT scan system, what they got. So let us move to discovering Tut. The saga continues. This is an article written by A.R. Williams, the author of the chapter, regarding the famous and powerful Pharaoh Tutankhamun, or popularly known as Tut, which is the title of the story, Discovering Tut, Finding Out Tut. Tut was the last heir to the powerful throne of Egypt. He had died at a young age of around 15 years. His death has been speculated since then, with murder being the most possible reason. So people were not knowing he was murdered, means he was killed, or suicide. Nobody. Moving ahead, second incident. You can say the first incident of the story, major incident, the plot. First, I gave you the overview of the character of the person, the major character, discovering Tut. Tut's tomb was discovered by Howard Carter, a British archaeologist, in the year 1922 in Egypt. Along with his coffin were other items of daily use like board games, a bronze razor, linen undergarments, food and wine. That you all know because of the belief of the Pharaoh dynasty, that they believe there is life after death as well. So that was their belief. So in that story, in that belief, you can say, we say it's a story only, but they believe so hardly. So according to their belief, they were all the kings were buried in their tomb with lot many precious things. Next, discovering Ted. After that, Carter started investigating. Now we are talking about the investigation. The first incident, tomb was taken out. The tomb was taken out of Tut for the discovering. So now the investigating by Carter. After that, Carter started investigating the three coffins. The first one contained shroud adorned with garland, shroud that cloth, which is wrapped around the body with garlands, lotus petals, olives, and cornflowers. Now, I am telling you, after that, Carter started investigating the three coffins. Three coffins, not a number 1, 2, 3. In the coffin, the last coffin contained the layer of the coffin, first, second, third, because he was the king. He was not a common man who was buried just in a simple coffin. His coffin was so special with the three layers. So the first layer contained shroud adorned with garlands, lotus petals, olives, and cornflowers. The last coffin contained Tut's body cemented, attached, you can say, to the bottom of his solid gold coffin due to the hardening of the rituals raisins. Raisins were also put, and it was all customized. So the body got so hard, badly struck with the lower layer, means the last coffin badly. It was very difficult for them to take out the body. So here the problems which they faced during the investigation. They tried to use the sunseed. First they decided to keep the coffin in the sun. So sunseed to loosen the raisins, but their efforts went in vain. Nothing happened. Went in vain means wasted. Then Carter ordered his men to remove the mummy's head and to sever nearly every major joint and reassemble them on a sand layer. Because sand is everywhere. It's a desert area. Okay, Egypt is a desert area where they were buried. All the kings were buried of Pharaoh dynasty in the form of mummy. So Carter decided to remove the mummy's head and to sever nearly every major joint and reassemble the body out from the tomb. From the coffin, After more than 40 years, in 1968, an anatomy professor X-rayed the mummy. It was not like that only Carter decided to investigate. One more professor, anatomy professor, X-rayed the mummy, and it revealed that beneath the raisins his breastbone and front ribs were missing. When he X-rayed, he got two major missing. One is breastbone and front ribs were missing when the body was investigated by anatomy professor 40 years in 1968. After more than 40 years in 1968. In 1922, Carter decided, and in 1968, anatomy professor X-rayed the mummy. Next, we are moving ahead. ACT, CT, an abbreviation, the full form Computed Tomography Machine, sponsored by the National Geographic Society and Siemens manufacturer. The company brand name, the make, scanned Tut's body from top to bottom, creating 1700 digital X-ray images in cross section. Now, here the CT scan was done. Who sponsored this CT scan? Because it's a very expensive project. It was sponsored by National Geographic Society and Siemens, the manufacturer, maker of the CT scan. So Tut body from top to bottom. It was scanned properly, creating 1700 digital X-ray images in cross section in all the way. So CT scan was done successfully. The story gives an insight into the mysteries surrounding the life and death of Tutankhamun, the last teenage ruler of the powerful Pharaoh dynasty that had ruled Egypt for centuries. He was the last of his family's line, and his funeral brought an end to his powerful dynasty. Not much is known about his family. Why only Tutankhamun coffin was discovered, investigated? Why his body was investigated? Because he was the last. There are so many important facts that you will get to know while reading the chapter from inside. Tut's father or grandfather, Amenhotep III, was a powerful pharaoh who ruled for about 4 decades during the dynasty's golden age. So golden era of Pharaoh dynasty was under the captainship of his grandfather, Tut's grandfather Amenhotep. His son Amenhotep IV shocked the country by attacking Amun, a major god, smashing his images and closing all his temples. He changed his name Akhenaten and promoted the worship of Aten or the sun disk. These are some technical terms, okay, so you don't get confused. You need to understand in the same way. You can't change anything, okay, but for better understanding, I explain you how you will do it, how you will memorize the whole incident. That Tut's father's or grandfather Amenhotep III was a powerful pharaoh ruler, okay, and ruled for 4 decades, and it was a golden age considered as a golden age. But his son, when Amenhotep was thrown as a king, that was a loss of the dynasty, pharaoh dynasty grace. It was a major loss of the grace of the dynasty because he smashed major god Amun's images, closed all the temples. So that's why he was not liked by the subjects in the kingdom. That was the reason this dynasty got affected badly and hated by people around. After his death, a mysterious ruler, Smenkhare, appeared briefly and excited with hardly a trace. No trace of next ruler. After the death, a mysterious ruler, he came, but there was no trace of that person. When Tut took over, immediately who came? Tut. He changed his name from Tutankhaten, Aten, Amun. Please note down the point. The last 4 alphabets, Aten, Amun, Tutankhamun, because his father changed the surname, but he got back to his grandfather's surname and the same god, and he restored all the major damages in the olden era of the dynasty when his father was ruling. However, Tut ruled for 9 years and then died mysteriously, unexpectedly. People were not knowing immediately what happened. As you have seen, on 14 June, SSR died, committed suicide. Nobody is knowing. Unexpectedly, mysteriously, it happened. In order to unravel means reveal the mystery of his death, find out the reason of his death. King Tut's mummy was scanned after thousands of years, thus opening new perceptions regarding the cause of his death. New perceptions means some other views regarding the cause of his death. Tut's mummy was scanned in 2005 under the supervision of Zahi Hawass, Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities. The computed tomography scan couldn't solve the mysterious death of Tut but gave us clues for sure. Some clues they only received after successfully done scanning of the body of Tut's mummy. Body we can't say because it was mummy totally damaged body, okay, and hardly they got some clues as well, but his mysterious death was still a question by everyone, and after CT scan also they were unable to give an satisfied answer that this was the reason of the death. So this lesson also provides a comprehensive awareness of ancient Egyptian culture that we will study in detail in line by line explanation in tomorrow's session. The ancient Egyptians believed that there was life after death. Now we are talking about the major belief which only they had in the world, in the universe you can say. Nobody is doing the same what they were doing. That is why the pharaohs were buried with a tremendous amount of wealth, including things of daily use, so that they could use them in their life after that. Because they consider death is another phase. Life is still there. That is why they are putting so many things, daily needs, eatables, precious things, lot of wealth when some king or any person died. As I told you that I will share some images as well which were released after the CT scan of Tut's mummy. So this was the CT generated image of King Tut, computerized, okay, because after 1700 digital x-rays they just combined and generated an image, CT generated image of King Tut. Just we are talking about King Tut, and some of the curse also, some stories also were associated with this mummy. So let us move to that as well, because we can get any sort of questions. So we need to understand all the major or the minor concerns in the story. A cobra killed Howard Carter's pet canary after the discovering of King Tut's tomb. Now the curse. What are the curse? The curse means the problems. Okay, the bad effect. Okay, so it was considered as curse, but these were all the incidents happened during the investigation. A cobra killed Howard Carter's pet canary after the discovering of King Tut's, because there is very important question based on this text, that what were the problems faced by Carter during the investigation. So number one is that. Next we are moving to Lord Caranwan, the person who funded the dig of King Tut's tomb, died shortly after the discovery due to a mosquito bite. Mosquito bite was the reason for killing the person who funded the dig of King Tut. People think it was a curse, but if science will manage, it will be considered as an incident only, not more than that. At that exact moment, the lights in Cairo mysteriously went out when the mosquito bite happened, and immediately Lord Caranwan died. Okay, and mysteriously Cairo light went out of light. The whole city was out of light. It's all black out. So Lord Caranwan's dog howled and dropped dead at 2 in the morning when Caranwan died. Caranwan died, and immediately after 2 hours, his dog also howled and dropped dead. What is interesting is that Howard Carter lived a decade after this major discovery. Nobody knows. So it's all considered like the incident only, because nothing happened to Carter. After having the major discovery, he was saved. Nothing happened to him. So these all are beliefs of the people, and they consider this as the curse. So with the images, I just want to explain the first image. It is showing that Tut's body was discovered in the coffin, and the helper, the man, the troop of the people was helping Carter with the assistant. Okay, during the CT scan section. Next image is giving you the overview of the CT scan theater. Look at the stretcher. The body is not entire. The body is just assembled and not in good condition. Okay, and next, after the digital images of the x-rays which they received, and in this way they generated a face of King Tut in this way. This image shows about the belief of the Pharaoh dynasty people, how they make the coffin. Look at the coffin. Look at the coffin, shapes of the coffin. So interesting, excited as well. And this was the scene inside the tomb area. Inside the tomb area, look at the wealth, the piece of furnitures. So many things were kept. And see the gold made. It's not plated. It's a gold made coffin. So expensive it would be. So this was all the things which they were doing, and they were believing that there is a life after the death as well. This is the evidence of their belief, which give them the pleasure as well when they do so. Again, this is a real image of the tomb of Tutankhamun. Number 62, and this was the way from where the coffin was taken out, the way. And in next Carter is sitting with his assistant and having lot of trouble to take out the body, to take out the mummy, because it was badly stuck with the ritual resin at the down level. This is again the real image. I am telling you what I want to show you, that later it was taken out again for CT scan to solve the mystery, because from here the coffin was taken out to sort out the mystery of the death of Tut. The mummy was scanned after 1,000 years, a cause of its untimely death, but technology has not been able to give us a definite answer to Tut's death, even though they took out the body, but nothing happened afterwards. After 1700 digital x-rays, they were evidenceless. They didn't have any evidence of his murder, even they didn't know the reason of his death. Tut underwent a CT scan that offered new clues on his life and death. It is thought that he could have been murdered. It is thought, but no evidence for that. Howard discovered the world's richest royal collection ever found, richest royal collection of wealth inside the tomb of Tut. He went to his afterlife with things such as board games, food, wine, linen undergarments. Artifacts of gold of extreme brilliance could be found in his grave. It took months for Carter to record all the things that had been found in his grave. Lot of time to record all the things by Carter. Now see, down, this is the way, just look at the steps. This is a way down, antechamber, corridor. To cross the corridor, enter the antechamber, the burial chamber, treasury. Treasury, where the things are kept, the precious things are kept, the store. And annex, where all the furnitures, everything they had kept. Let us analyze what we came to know after knowing the plot of the story. The modern world has turned impossibilities to possibilities. How? With the help of advanced technology. Williams' report gives an insight into a mummy scanned after 1,000 years that has opened new avenues regarding a cause of its death. New avenues, not like a colony or some area. It's a mentally means some new perceptions regarding his death. The mummy referred to here is that of King Tut or Tutankhamen, meaning the living image of Amun. The earlier ruler Amenhotep IV has shocked the country by attacking Amun, a major god, smashing his images and closing all his temples. His family had ruled for centuries before the boy king. Tut took over the charge and settled all the things and recovered all the major losses, and people were liking him a lot. However, Tut ruled for 9 years, even though he died in early age, but he was liked by everyone and then died both mysteriously and unexpectedly as well. Funerary Treasures. The mummy was in a very bad state, according to Zahiawas, Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities. King Tut's tomb was first discovered in 1922 by Howard Carter, a British archaeologist. Tut was found buried with numerous funerary treasures. The whole wealth is considered as funerary treasure, which is buried with the coffin. In a coffin made of pure gold, the treasure found included precious collars, inlaid necklaces, bracelets, rings, amulets, a ceremonial apron, sandals, and sheaths for his fingers, the shields for his fingers and toes. These treasures are till date the richest royal collection ever found. Not like that, in the history, such royal collections were found after someone's death. Some everyday items considered to be needed in the afterlife, like board games, bronze razor, linen, undergarments, cases of food, and wine were also found. This revealed that the ancient Egyptians believed in the idea of destruction and hoped to take their riches with them. Now, this is the map. You can see the things now. I make it little broad for you. Red Sea, where the Egypt, you can get the idea. You open the Google map, you can get where Egypt is there. And in Cairo, the capital of Egypt, the discovery of Tut's tomb by Howard Carter in 1922 is considered the most important archaeological find of the century. On January 5, 2005, King Tut's mummy glided headfirst into a CT scanner to probe the medical mysteries surrounding them, because people were talking a lot. It's not a suicide, it's a murder. An angry wind stirred up ghostly dust devils. These were the things which happened when the tomb was discovered and body was taken out, because Egyptians believe not to touch the tomb. It is a cursed thing. That is why whatever happened during the investigation, they consider as the curse, not the incident, because they believe like that. Sometimes dark clouds moved into the sky all the day, blackout as well, mosquito bite became the reason of death. So these things happen. These were thought to be the indications of the Pharaoh's curse. Death or misfortune would fall upon those who disturb him, who disturb the king who is sleeping or in the next phase of the life. This was a belief of the people. After looking map, you got an idea about the position of the tomb in Cairo. So, burial treasure of Tut. Look at the first block. This is the entrance step, the way. Passage means a corridor. Antechamber, annex, golden shrine, treasure chamber. This was the map of King Tut's tomb. Now, burial treasures of Tut included: the treasure of Tutankhamun have been marveled at since their discovery by Howard Carter on November 4, 1922. Tutankhamun's second innermost coffin, also referred to as the intermediate coffin, is made of gilded laminated wood with inlays of polychrome glass paste. Tutankhamun's third coffin, these were the layer, the first layer and the second layer. Tutankhamun third coffin is made of solid hammered gold and weighs about 450 pounds. You can understand the value of the gold. The royal mummy of, that is why it is considered as royal mummy of Tutankhamun, was found inside this coffin. King Tut's mummy was CT scanned on January 5, 2005 after Howard Carter had discovered it in 1922. Tourists all over the world went into the rock-cut tomb some 26 feet underground to pay their respects to King Tut. If you have visited Cairo or one of the seven wonders of the world, it comes in that list. They gazed at the murals on the walls, the writing on the walls of the burial chamber. People are allowed, yes. They also peered at Tut's gilded face. Some tourists stood silently to see if the pharaoh's curse, death or misfortune would fall upon those who disturb him would be really true. Some people believe that we should not go there because all the kings are sleeping and they are in the second phase of life. So just because of the fear of curse, any sort of curse in their life, some people believe in that and they don't visit. But some people feel adventurous to visit that tombs. Unnatural death, it's a question. The scanning of Tut's mummy also gave an insight as to how mummies were buried. We get to know the way of buried process. Howard Carter, who scanned the body, found it difficult to extract the mummy out, to take the mummy out. Very difficult. The ritual resins had hardened, thereby cementing cementing without any cement, but it was cementing, it was badly attached, tucked to the bottom of his solid gold coffin. Carter finally had to chisel to break the mummy away, having no other option. Every major point was severed. Tut was buried with gold, which was meant to guarantee the resurrection, and was also buried with everyday things he would need in his life after. Tut also had things to take on his journey to the great beyond: glittering goods, precious collars, necklaces, and sandals, all of pure gold. The computed tomography CT scan couldn't solve the mysterious death of Tut, but gave us clues for sure. The X-rays and CT scan reveal a startling facts: the breastbone and the pawn ribs of Tut were missing. These two things were missing. Such a revelation would not have been possible without technological precision because of the CT scan machinery. So this fact gives us a clue that Tut in all likelihood did not die a natural death. There was something mysterious, but they didn't get as well. Well, this is all about the major incidents happened during the investigation. And now we are closing the session today. I sign you off after finishing this chapter overview, short summary, and the major incidents happened. With the advanced technology, it helps us to know about the past and those who were involved. This I want to share as my experience, what I believe, that with the advanced technology we can do anything, whatever we want. Maybe it happened in the past, but if we are totally laced up with the advanced technology, then we can find out the reasons the things were involved, such as through CT scan it was possible to get an idea about King Tut and his body. It helped solve mysteries about death. It provides data for forensic reconstruction. Forensic base means the report, and satellite images help find burial sites. Through different software, date and time of an event occurred in the past can be calculated. But with the help of the advanced technology, after CT scan result images of Tut, still no conclusion could be drawn. Instead of focusing and using the time, now this is purely my experience, what I believe, in fact you are also supporting this. Instead of focusing and using the time and money on past events, the government should focus on the present and future. And I am suggesting you the same. Instead of wasting your time, energy, money over the things which are not required now, you should work over your present and future. So tomorrow we will be starting line by line explanation of Discovering Tut, grade 11 book, Hornbill chapter 3. Till the time, stay safe, stay protected, love your parents. Any query, put on the wall or make a call. Thank you so much. Stay blessed. Goodbye.